Yes. So as my teenager would say, there are some people who are just living like zombies.
Yeah.
They don't realize there's so much more beyond this experience.
Yes. Totally.
Like, how is that different than previous?
Because I was one of those zombies.
Mm.
You know, living life thinking you're doing it right from the outside in, and then realizing, oh, no, actually, it's an inside out job.
Yes. It is an inside out job. But then I go back to that inside has come about because of a feedback with the outside.
Yeah, the feedback loop, huh?
Yeah. So that's why becomes even more, for me, it becomes even more important to be a better feedback loop on the outside for other people.
True.
With what I
So
now
there,
go to.
but there would be a pattern of looking, okay, if you only look at the current circumstances, you see the feedback and you keep feeding the same loop. So you have to step out of that. And I think that's what I mean by zombie, because you don't realize you have the capacity, or you could, there's Jesse's word, you could do something different. You could step out of that.
Yep.
But if you're only judging from what the five senses say, then you think that's all there is.
Yes. So what we perceive is not always the full truth.
It rarely is.
But it so often feels like it is.
So back to you being the guide, Allison. Become that mirror so people can reach that conclusion on their own.
Yeah, but I think when you're a mirror as being a guide, there's that interaction that takes place, right? There's a guiding of where to focus on the mirror. Right?
Can you expand on that?
It always depends on your role, of course, but so you're holding a mirror up to somebody and they're seeing what they see, and what they see is what they focus on. That's what I was thinking is that they will focus on different things to what you do. And as women, we know that very well, right?
Absolutely.
We'll focus on, in our socializing phases, we focus on all the flaws and physical flaws. Whereas other people will focus on the energy that we have and that we bring, because they'll focus on what we make other people feel like when they're around us. So you still do that guidance. Do you know what I mean? There's still there's a communication, a verbal communication. Not always. Sometimes it can happen in a flash. And then doesn't need to be any kind of communication. But if you're taking the position of being a guide, then there is verbal communication still.
Hello, Pascal. You may not be able to talk, but I see you've joined.
Hi, Pascal.
Welcome, Pascal.
Hey guys, how are you?
Good,
Good.
and you?
Did you get your
What's that?
tailgate fixed?
Yeah. And it's not about me. Yeah.
Pascal, you must be getting very excited. When's your due date?
It's March 10.
Wow, that's coming up.
Yeah.
Welcome to the
Yeah.
night shift.
Yeah, my wife is doing everything to get him to come out.
Yes.
Everything you're not supposed to do in like pregnancy, she does it. Yeah.
Oh, God. The joys.
I tried that, the spicy food, swimming with my second, and she was just going to come when she was going to come.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
She
Yeah.
waited till all the out of town family had left and gone back.
Oh, shame, Jenny.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yes. I remind her of that.
That's so funny. Yeah, we don't control that one.
No.
Well, you can, but it's surgical, not recommended.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, you can induce it, but yeah. I mean, if
My
he's
dad-
overdue, then maybe, but yeah, that's about it. Yeah. Yeah, she's scared that he's gonna be too big.
Oh, shame.
Doing on the main, right?
Yeah.
She's probably not very big herself, so.
No, she's usually, I think she weigh about 125, 130 usually.
Wow.
They say the smallest women have the biggest babies.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
With my second, we had an aquadula, which is kind of like an above ground swimming pool. And
Right.
she's like, do you want to get in it? You paid for it. I'm like, oh, no, I can tough it out. So, and then I got in there and like, why did I wait? It
Yeah,
helps.
yeah, no, for sure. Eh? Yeah, we
How
didn't
did it
get an
help?
doula, but we have a midwife, so, and she's
Yes.
wonderful actually.
That's
Well,
great.
what this is, when the contractions come, you can get in the water. You can do it in a bathtub, but you don't have as much water around you. And if you're suspended in the water, you don't feel the contractions as bad.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Oh,
So that might be a nice gift if you can get one.
yeah.
You rent it. You just pay for the liner and then they dispose of the liner.
Okay. They do
Yeah,
that
I was
at the
thinking-
hospital as well or not?
I don't know. We had a midwife at
At
her
home?
building, so,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
but we rented it. I remember that.
Mm. Yeah, I can like suggest that to her. You know, if it's available, right?
Yeah, sorry, we're off track. We're back to guiding guides.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm. Right, which is what, right? And it's like it's help. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
serving, and it's like it's serving Pascal.
Absolutely.
So, what like Jenny, thank you for sharing. Wrap that up as like a noticing your charge, noticing the triggers, noticing the emotions, not being attached to them, not following them, not chasing them, but like, oh, what is that? What is that information? And then asking like, oh, what do I want here? That is what you're celebrating about coming in today, and more of your awareness.
Thank you.
I celebrate that with you as well, and also say thank you, because in your sharing, it's a gift in a little box wrapped up just for me, and thank you.
The gift
I
of the
just-
present, right, Cinderella?
Yeah, yeah,
How you
and
doing
it's
today?
beautiful. I just came off of a very impromptu, long discussion with my daughter, and I'm just so thankful that we can have open heart talks. And I was able to not to be a mother of a different kind, to hear her and actually give her room to speak and feel. And it feels like my motherhood is evolving, to be a mother to babies. It's, you're all like over them doing things, but to young adults, it's a different honoring position that they even want you in their life. And she said to me, Mom, I said something to you the other day, and you just looked at me and you said, you know what, baby, miracles can happen. She said, that's the best thing that you could have said to me.
Oh, that's nice.
And I contributed to this work, because my old patterns or structures would have wanted to jump in and fix everything for her, tell her how to think and how to feel. But I really honor her as a full expression of her own identity. And for her to call me today and then expound on all of that she was feeling the day before, and to give her room. And I was feeling some things like, Mama Bear wanted to come out like, and let her know that I'm on your side and I got your back, but being able to recognize how I feel, how I felt through the conversation, and really upper room it. And not have to feel justified to express those things, but to just be present there with her. And some of the emotions I went through, I think I was able to feel them and recognize them and appreciate them, whether they were like really good feelings or bad feelings, however you want to identify them. But I received them as that feedback, as Allison was speaking on, and go there and just be there for 90 seconds to recognize it and not have to go down those channels all the way, because it was like, well, what do I want? And at the end of the conversation, what I really wanted is for her to always feel like she can speak her piece and her feelings in my space, and that she has space to do that with me. So it's phenomenal being functioning with super consciousness, and I just look forward to growing more in that capacity.
That's
90
beautiful. Yeah.
90 seconds is enough for me to recognize, not to focus on something, that to not have to focus, to get the feedback, but not to have to focus on it to create more of what I don't want, so that I can be conscious. The question, what do you want?
Isn't it nice to know that we only have to do it for 90 seconds?
What a relief.
Isn't it funny, the perception of a minute at different times with whatever you're experiencing at the moment? It can seem like an eternity if you're waiting on hold on a customer service line. And it can be an instant at other times.
Yep.
So Sindrell, I'd like to feedback what I heard and honor your lesson, your learning that you shared with us was that being aware that there's that our relationships are always evolving. And in your specifics, what I was triggered with is like I continue to be amazed by the little things that we say that have the biggest impact. Wow. And it's not like we know it in the time that we deliver it. And in this space, it was between as a mother and a daughter. And how that ties to me is what I can, with help here, with help from people here on this call, it's like to stand in my power. And it was like, where could I? Where could I? And it went to, I will always be dad. That's the truth.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I need nothing more than that. And so from that truth, I was like, wow, there. I can start there.
That's great.
And when I start there, then I opened up and said, all right. I learned this from Nikki, where she said, she's like, I choose how to start and finish my day. I'd heard it and I applied it yesterday in that. And I released my love for wherever it needed to go.
That's amazing.
Tell me more.
Not directing it, not aiming it, not focusing it, just for wherever it needed to go. I woke up and I did that again. But standing in the truth of, I am dad, will always be dad. No one will take that away. No one will punish that. No one will replace it, and no one will ever fill in.
Yes.
It was like that truth, that bare bone truth for me was a place that I could start.
That's
And from
awesome.
that, it was like my choices, my automatics. It was like I made two wonderful moves from my perspective, and I'm going to keep choosing them. The beginning and the end, and whatever the F happens in the middle is not mine. It's that reflection. It's that mirror. It's that up. It's like, this is what I'm reflecting. I'm not taking anything else.
Yeah, I mean, even no matter what else happens in the middle between the beginning and the end, you're still dad.
Mhm.
Irrefutable.
Mhm. Punish that if you want.
I can take it. I'm still dad.
Still here.
Matter of fact, I'm more dad.
Even better. Bring it.
Yesterday, today, and tomorrow.
Bigger, badder, better.
I see your Superman cape.
That's right. I'm glad to put it on. I'm glad to put it on. And what I'd say, it's like in that is like, the truth of what matters, the truth of what I care about, the truth of what is true. I honor the power of choice. The feedback, if we don't like the information, I could always change it. So that's my leading, that's my demonstration, that is my amazing day today.
It's great. This is
So,
good
Jesse,
celebration.
you remind me of a mug that my daughter got my husband for Father's Day. It says, it's not a dad bod, it's a father figure.
It's not a what?
It's not a dad bod, it's a father figure.
Say it one more time. It's not
Explain
a
it. I
dad.
don't get it.
Okay, so they talk about men as they get older as fathers, they have a dad bod. You know, they're not as buff as they once were. So
Yeah, I gotcha.
it says, it's not a dad bod, it's a father figure.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm with you now.
But it reminded me of the years that I spent being a single mom, thinking I had to be dad and mom.
Mm,
Yes.
Mhm.
mm.
Yes.
And then realizing I can only be the best mom I can be. But
And
I
nor
didn't
can we
have,
make up.
pardon?
We can't make up for somebody else.
No.
No, we can't.
I'm sorry, Jenny. I interrupted you.
No. I just, it was more for me about understanding that in those circumstances, one is a whole number. And my journey is to understand me and learn about my role and not worry about anyone else's. I didn't have this work back then, so I had a different perspective, and it was probably a lot more victim mentality than was needed, but that's where I was at the time. And I honor it, and I'm grateful I don't have that now. But even in a partnership, there's still that sense that I realize I still have to step into being me. And bring that to the table.
That's our biggest work, I think.
Yeah, so
matter
I
where you
choose
are.
how I start and end my day. That's a good beginning.
It is. It's a great beginning.
And if you want to be miserable, okay, enjoy that. I'm going for a walk.
I
That's a
love that.
metaphor.
Yeah, it's a really good one.
And
So-
then, I know, like Allison, I want to thank you. It's like you shared with me a way to listen, feedback, and so I had an opportunity to do that today, and it wasn't like I was attached to it in any way, but it was a space to just be like, I'm sorry you feel that way.
Great.
Mhm. And it was just, yep, okay,
Good.
yep.
Yeah, that little space is so, for me, it's so important and so valuable. It does different things for the person that is giving it, and it does different things for the person that's receiving it.
Don't get off that path, Jenny. I want you to get eaten by that alligator.
You know, I've been
Beautiful.
here like 16 years and we haven't seen an alligator. There've been one or two that people have seen, but man, just minutes from here, people get them showing up in their pool cages.
Oh,
But I'm keeping an eye on that little white bird.
I
So
prefer
we
the
have
birds
this,
to the alligators.
yeah, I like the birds better too. But there's a sign, no wading, swimming, fishing, or boating, and this bird clearly does not read.
Well, just go tell it.
Oh no, I'm on the board. I'm an elected official, but that's not my my job.
Oh, sorry, Allison, I didn't mean to
Sorry.
pull you off there.
No, it's fine. I was talking about this space, right? That little space. And what comes to mind with me in that is that it's almost as important as that gap when we it's almost like the gap that I look for when I'm going into the quiet. Because I know that when I find that gap, I guess the gap is like the river. Then things flow, and then they flow into a completely different space. So when we acknowledge somebody else's experience, whether that experience has come about because of our interaction with them or because of somebody else, it gives them space, which then provides new opportunity for what then happens between ourselves and that person. And that's what, I guess for me, what I've begun to realize is that is really what relationship and relating is about. And it's much bigger than just the interaction that we have. How can I put this? It's much bigger than just the ingredients of what each of us is bringing to the table at that point. I'm sorry, I'm going very esoterical right now.
No, I'm with you.
Can you, does it make sense, Sandra?
Yes, it
Okay.
does. Because sometimes, first of all, the gap, when you, it's a technique that, interviewers and negotiators use called the pause.
Mm.
And in that pause, it really gives the other person a chance not to just respond out of their self-ego, but it gives them a chance to do what's so important, is to connect with their heart.
Yes.
And very often we don't really get to the heart of the matter
Yeah.
until we come to that space of the gap that has not been spoken or has not been given way to be felt or defined or undefined in order for it to come up as truth. A truth that could be scary only because we don't know what that truth is going to be, but not really so scary because it's the truth that is really what is and should be expressed. So that gap is such a place of honoring. There's Dwayne Dower.
Mm.
He does a meditation called Getting into the Gap,
Mm-hmm.
which added value to me at the time I was introduced to it. And now I came up, saying the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, all of that, right? But when he introduced it, he was like, let's use that. But it's the space between the words where spirit is, where God is. And so when you said the gap, it's I wrote it down, it's that sweet serenity of the spirit.
That's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful, because that's exactly what we need to do, right? In honoring the other person. And by honoring the other person, we get an opportunity for more clarity. And what I wrote down as you were talking, and from what Jessie said also, was that truth is momentum.
That's an interesting connection. I hadn't made that one. Thank you, Allison.
Well, I thought of it because of watching Jessie saying, I'm Dad. And his whole body just came alive, right? And from there he could move.
Where is it written? Ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set ye free.
There you go.
I've heard truth shall make you free. But we already are free, aren't we? In truth.
In truth, but are we in truth is the question.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, and I hear truth as part of the structure. Truth is current reality. Love is desired reality. That creates a structure. And the more aligned they are, the more one they are.
Yeah. So true. And I experienced it. And it was so much to give. And it was like, oh, I don't need to point it anywhere.
Just let the love flow and go, right?
Where it flow and go where it needs to go.
Yeah.
When you were saying that, I was envisioning like just you being the vessel that you are, and you give an opportunity to be charged by the universal living love of the creator. And it just like downloading into your whole head and being and existence, and just emanating and feeling in your whole body, just love, the whole essence, and but just to say that its essence is limiting it, so it's really no words for what we call love, and this flow of magnetic energy, and it just emanating and like pouring in. And because it is like electricity, because it connected with you as a socket, then it could give off like all of this energy and light, and with you not defining where it goes. It just like, I get it now when the meditation says, okay, you feel it all in your body. Now you all of this, now it's in your room, it's filling up the room, it's filling up the whole house. It's just sizzling like champagne bubbles and electricity and fireworks and everything else, so magnetic and good all at one time. And it's on your whole house. Your house is just engulfed with it, like watching a TV show. And what was it, Hocus Pocus? When they were doing their Hocus Pocus, all of this light was coming out of the house, and you could see it in the sky, and then letting that just like flow and grow and go out while you're in this place called the gap. In the gap, all of this just breathes and comes out, and it just, the whole neighborhood and the whole universe, just each one, just emanating all of that out of you. And it's good because, like your family's in it, your kids are in it, the next door neighbors being healed and don't even know why they feel so much better today. And, people are speaking to each other and walking on the street, and you're smiling and they're smiling. And we all get to be that, right?
Yeah.
And all the concerns, all of those like, mundane concerns of existence, right? It's just like, let's just, it says love, is it love? Where's my words today? Love conquers all things. We putting that love out, it eases hearts, it gives clarity, it gives purpose, ambition. Whew. Well, guys, I have missed you so much. I feel like I'm getting a download and I'm just spewing out.
It's really good to have you again, Sandra.
Good to hear it. Yeah.
Food for the soul.
Mhm.
Soul food.
Last week, you said 90 seconds. Last week, I noticed, people, you hear about, depression and this and all of these other things. And last week, it must have been like Wednesday, I was walking through the house and I was like, there's a spirit of loneliness here. And then it just like that. I said, oh, that's like depression. And then like that, I was like, a spirit of loneliness. And I was like, oh no, I put some music on. I got the dance. I ain't got time for that.
That's funny.
Oh, that's so divine.
Ain't
that is
nobody
right
got
in
time
line.
for that.
Dude,
I
That
love
is
it.
so much aligned with Jenny's report. It's just like, oh, there it is. Oh, there you are. What are you doing here? There we go. We don't want that.
mm, mm.
I hear you. I see you. And it's like, now what do we do with it?
Mm.
Mhm.
Because we can marinate in it.
Yes,
There
we
was
can
a time-
marinate it. We can marinate it in ourselves, and we can marinate it, in, and also in receiving it from somebody else. We can take it on, or we can put it aside, or we can reflect it back. How much of this might be part of what that person is experiencing? And then again, you go into that gap, right? It seems like maybe something has left you feeling like this. Is that so?
I
Is
like
it
the
not
bow
so?
to the emotion. Give it 90 seconds of airtime and then choose what you want to create instead. Because if you marinate in it and keep it on its merry-go-round, you just give it more airtime, then you give it more power, and then that's what you're creating in your next creation.
Yes, that's when we're communicating with ourselves, right?
Yes.
When we're doing that self-talk. When we're communicating with people outside that have not had the blessings that we've had to be where we are, then you have to sit in it for a little bit longer, but you still got your
Yes.
boundary.
Well, and I heard you say we could choose to take it on and set it aside. And that's where I was saying inside, we can honor it, bow to it, and then put that boundary.
Yeah.
But someone else may need to sit in it a lot longer, depending on what they're experiencing.
Yeah.
I like that you said honor it, because it is teaching us. It's wisdom. It's teaching us, right?
Yeah.
But we don't have to succumb to it, because who has the power? Again, what do we want? What do we want to create? Thank you for the like Jesse contributed in his reflection of I understand that you feel that way. And I think you said, I'm sorry that you feel that way. And I don't exactly remember the words that framed it, but it is for yourself, even it's acknowledging the feeling and taking the wisdom. But because you can take the wisdom and receive it as truth, the truth sets you free from the emotion having power over you. You keep power over the meaning.
Yeah, I think that's the key. Where's the power? The observing of the emotion and the knowing that we're feeling it in the moment, and then choosing to stay in it. That's where we put the power in that moment, or choosing to release it and take the wisdom.
And that's also setting the boundary.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
And boundaries aren't locked. They're containers.
And they're fluid.
They're fluid, exactly.
But you don't want it too porous.
No, you don't want it too porous. Absolutely.
You choose where it's porous and when it's porous. That's the beauty of you creating, setting, establishing the boundary.
That's right.
Which goes back to the inside out job,
Mm-hmm.
maintaining your peace inside, regardless of what's going on outside, even if just in the morning and the evening, twice a day. You can swirl in the middle, you can wobble, to have those two anchors.
There's a lot in this. It's all about how do we begin our navigation? Where do we start from? And the more we can start from truth, the more ease and flow there is, even with really difficult emotions along the way. You know, I was listening again. It took me a long time to get through this one interview with Mo Gaudat. And he was talking about the pain of his son not being with him anymore. And the joy of knowing that his essence is never gone, ever. None of ours is. And the importance of realizing that we are created from the outside in. We're created from the energetic field and manifested from there. And then we have free will, and that is what enables us to have choice. And the more that we can use that, the more we can distribute light and love. Those two are, for me, interchangeable. And the more beauty we can receive, no matter what the circumstances. He was talking about his ex-wife, and you can hear the love in his voice still for her. And about relationship and what relationships are about, intimate relationships, and about our attachments. And it was really interesting for me, you know, just to find all the crossovers in his languaging and in the teachings that I follow. And yesterday also, Ginny, when we were talking with Mona and talking about all the crossovers in Christian teachings and the paths that I've followed, because they all go towards truth.
Yes,
And there's such beauty in that, right?
absolutely. And I think sometimes people get hung up in verbiage and they miss the message because they've already got a block when they hear a certain phrase or certain set of words. It's just interesting.
Mm. So I'll share an experience that I had yesterday, Sindrel. I had a process done with Mona. She's got a very special timeline process that she does. And I'd asked Jessie to help me prepare for it before. And it was really interesting for me that what was covered, the territories that were covered. So when I worked with Jessie, it was a very fundamental level. My experience of it was very fundamental. And in my experiences with working with Jessie, I recalled an experience that I had last week in a dream just before I woke up. And what happened in the dream was that I was standing looking at a sunrise that was, and it completely took my breath away. It was so beautiful. And then I woke up, and as I woke up, I had grabbed my laptop, and I switched everything off at night. And I was, in a hurry to get it on. I was thinking to myself, why? Like, what am I doing? And then I went, oh, okay, it's time for group. It was exactly like 3 minutes to 8, or I can't remember. Anyway, so I grabbed it and I was on and doing all my things. And I didn't realize what the impetus was, why, and then I thought, well, it's just because it's been so powerful. Anyway, so I had that experience and I needed to share it. And then when Jessie did his process, the sunrise came up again. And then when I worked later that day with Mona, again, the sunrise was there at the end, and at the end of my past, the sunrise was there, and at the end of my beginning, the sunrise was there. And what I've landed up with is just this renewed experience in my body. I have no idea yet where it's going to take me to, but I do feel very different this morning. And I've still got, like my head is going like this, not nearly as badly as yesterday. But for me, I think there was this huge, massive, big release of everything in between. And so now as I'm talking, I'm realizing that the reason why I thought to share this is because it's a mirror of what Jessie was saying. You choose where you start and you choose where you end. And what happens in the middle will happen. It's fine. But the beginning and the end will contain it.
Thank you for sharing.
Every day that you continue, you strengthening that beginning and that end. And it all comes to love.
The sun rises.
And so the roles that we play and the people that we play those roles with, of course they're important, and of course we honor them, but they don't always turn out the way that we wanted them to be. And that we might have wanted to be in those roles.
But I want it my way.
Sure. As one of my meditation teachers said, good luck with that. And it's painful because until we get to that until we get to that fundamental truth and the freedom that that brings, we're grasping.
Yeah, like we know these things, and like I'll say me, I know these things that you speak of. And because I know these things, it's like I'm so enlightened. Yet, fundamentally, as you were speaking, I felt like, honestly, I felt like, oh, I'm being exposed. Like my consciousness is being exposed. And I felt the heaviness come up in my chest. You felt it, Jesse, for me. I was like, oh, I need that kind of therapy, right? And it's like something that has been sunken in the depths of the sea, under the earth of the sea. And it's like this big boulder that is like like as you were speaking, it was like coming up to be recognized. And yet, like if you had stopped talking, it would have just went right back down to where it had been. But it doesn't, nevertheless, it doesn't negate the fact that it's there. And it's something, whether this is the time or soon is the time, but eventually this weight that's there is it's got to come like up and out at some point and be exposed for what it is. And really, I'm so enlightened. I didn't know what it is. It's really nothing. It's a perception, right? But yet it holds an emotional vibration in me. And I know, even though I'm so enlightened, I'm so enlightened, yet there's a block in me that has not been processed. There's a huge block, and I have a saying that I say sometimes, is, especially when I have a great day, it's like, I had a fight with myself this morning and I won. It's like, I'm not letting this stuff stop me. I'm going to work from my most enlightened self and choose what I want, how my day to end. But just the fact to have the fight, and some aspects of the fight, I don't want to trigger because I don't know that I will win. And it's literally a big, it's not a round boulder, it's a block boulder down under the earth of the ocean. And it wants to come up, like it's finding that it's like a seed. When a seed, it germinates, it's there, it grows, it roots, but there comes a point in time when it must sprout the surfaces that are over it, whether it's land or whether it's ocean or fog or pollution or whatever, it must come up. And God, I know I'm so enlightened, right? I truly desire to be free from it, but it's like it just like sinks back down and it hasn't come up yet. And while you were talking, it felt like, oh, you being exposed. You're being exposed for the fraudulent enlightenment that you perceive, that you think that you have, that you don't know what enlightenment is yet. Wait until you really get enlightened and live that way on even a grander scale, without that weight of that boulder waiting to be freed itself. that boulder wants to be free itself. But it's like how, it's like getting it up. And while you were talking, it like came up at my chest and was just sitting there. And me being able to talk about it, like the pressure of it has dissipated.
Good.
But it's still there. It's still work. It's still work.
Yeah, we all have. So the one,
How much work does a diamond do?
It just is.
That is your diamond genius.
I heard a diamond is a piece of coal that just stuck to the job under pressure.
Like that.
yeah,
Well, I'm sticking for sure because I'm
that's what counts.
excited about life.
Yes, yes.
Awesome.
Without expectation, really.
Great.
The ultimate thing is when I was going through my divorce, and I went through this like counseling, divorce care, and all of this, and really none of that stuff was helping me. But I just kept going, just to break up the monotony of staying home and stewing and stew. And one person said one thing out of all, I think it was 12 sessions, 12 weeks. And it went around of people like having encounters with their ex and this and that and the other. And, where families have been split, but events were happening when all families get together. And what's it going to be like? He's going to be there with his girlfriend and all this other kind of stuff. And it's like, well, you feel that way because you have expectations. Stop putting expectations on other human beings. And
That's powerful.
Yeah, it's very powerful.
That out of your own perception, or out of your own heart, or out of your own perceived needs of another person, and I told my new pastor that I decided to be with. When I told him, I said, look, because we wear uniforms and everybody's got positions and roles and everything. I said, look, I'm transferring my membership to you. I said, just in case somebody has to eulogize me, and you're much younger than me, so you'll be around to do it maybe, but don't put any expectations on me. Don't put me in a uniform. Don't give me a title. Don't expect to see me on a regular basis. You'll receive my donations as I feel like flowing them that way. Am I consistently inconsistent? That's the best way for you to receive me. The only kind of member I can be is that you can put me on your roles, and I will love you like crazy when I'm flowing love to you. And when you don't see me, don't call me and act like I'm sinning, because I probably am. He was like, well, all right, Cindrell. I said, put a saint on that, because we call each other saints. I said, put a saint on that. So I said, I will be your most rogue member. But if you need me, I better not hear that you needed me and you didn't call me. That's who I am. And it was like, okay, so I'll see you when I see you. I said, you'll see me when I see you.
That's amazing. I love it.
It was so freeing, because I was in a very tight-netted organization, very tight. And he asked me to speak on various occasions. I said, you know, I'm non-compliant. Are you ready to handle that? I'm non-compliant. So I'm going to say what the truth is that I'm given to give. And he was like, I'm praying. Go ahead, take it away.
Oh God, let's cut this diamond and see what happens.
That's funny.
But
I love it.
the oddest thing happened. I did speak a few times, and the last time I spoke, because we go to church on Friday night and Saturday. And so I spoke on a Friday night. And if you ask me now what I spoke of, I couldn't tell you. But I spoke. And you know how people will say, oh, that was great. Amen, blah, blah. You know, I just don't really go for the listening for that. And I was just, you know, like, thank you. I'm just glad to be of service, blah, blah, blah. So when I went and he said, we have to hear this again. We must hear this again. And I thought he was just saying that complimentary. Do you know for Saturday's sermon, he replayed that? I was like, oh, shit. That has never happened. I was like, well, okay. I'm raw. I'll just be me. I'll be me. That's how it's coming. I didn't cuss though, which was really good.
Oh, you and I have problems with boundaries. Don't put them there. Don't put, because if you do, you know what's gonna happen.
It's just an invitation to cross it, right?
Oh God! Don't create them for us. Don't create them for us, please. We got enough of them.
Yeah, you get the best
Yeah.
of me being free. That's what you get.
Yeah. You put a boundary on it, you're asking for it.
I'll disappoint you every time just because I can't be compliant.
Oh, I hear that one. I will prove you wrong.
Without even trying.
Yeah, oh yeah. You will get what you asked for.
Or more than you asked for. You can't control me.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah. I mean, what I mean by
Or
that
will
is
you
you're not going to get it the way you think you're going to get it.
You're going to get what you didn't ask for, I think.
That's right.
Is what you're
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah, not in the way you thought. I don't know how that's my problem.
Oh, I don't think it
really
was
don't.
yours.
I know, but that's what I'm going to prove.
Yeah.
Allison, is there more about that process you want to share? So you went through a pre-process with Jesse.
Yeah, because I wanted to, and we only had an hour to do the afternoon one, and she'd asked me to be prepared, and I had to do unpacking for myself, and I wasn't sure about my true choice, so Jenny and Jesse helped me with that. And it was really, it was very interesting for me, just how much was contained in being able to make that true choice, that I actually came to one word, which is very unusual for me. I've always got too many words. And then how much got covered just by going for that one word.
And that word
Was peace.
Why was it so hard to get to that word? Have you not experienced peace in so long, or didn't think you deserved peace?
I think I just hadn't really experienced it very much in my life.
So you had no real point of reference that you could trust as peace?
No, I could trust it because I had experienced it and I know what it felt like, but I just realized that I wasn't feeling enough of it.
Peace had to be connected to fighting, to a fight.
Mm,
To a
So it was
fight.
entangled. It was entangled with a fight.
mm,
Wow.
To
what a
have
contract.
peace, to have a peace required the fight.
Ooh.
Mm.
To have peace, you have to fight.
Mm.
Ooh.
Mm.
So did you have that fight? And when?
I had the fight and I let it go. Yeah. I
Yeah.
re-experienced it and I let it go.
But you didn't do it by yourself. Isn't that beautiful?
No. Yeah. No, I couldn't have done it by myself. I've tried. You know, I can experience peace when I meditate. But I mean, that's very different, right? Because you are choosing your beginning and your end. When you go out into the world, you can choose your beginning and your end, but it's not just you navigating the middle. Whereas in meditation, it is mostly just you navigating the middle. Unless you start getting to much higher planes, which I'm not at yet. I don't know. So being in 3D world, you've got to navigate yourself in between other people's choices and intentions and agendas and all those things. And you react to them. So all the reactivity is gone. And actually, I noticed a small thing this morning where I was about to get really irritated with my husband. And I just had this immediate thing of, don't you dare. And I dropped it.
Mm. Mm.
It was great.
Chose not to participate in
Powerful.
non-peace.
Yeah. And I'm really grateful because at the moment it's difficult for him, you know. And he really doesn't need any added minor irritations that are charged, right? And when I could drop it, it's not only that I dropped it with him, but I dropped the need for whatever pissy thing I thought was irritating. It just was gone. So that was really nice.
And you would call that what?
Peace.
Thank you. Ring the bell.
I call it grace under pressure.
I call it
Oh
victory.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Mm.
So the experience is peace, Jenny. The medium to that peace was grace.
Mhm,
Yeah.
Yeah.
mhm.
And the more we can go to love, towards love, the more grace we receive.
You think, Allison, when you said he doesn't really need that added stress, or I forget how you put it, agitation, whatever it was. And I started to think, well, who does?
Exactly.
Does my
That's-
husband? Do my daughters? Do I?
Mm.
So it made me think about that. Thank
Mhm.
you.
Only if they deserve it.
Look,
Who made me judge and jury?
Oh, I don't know, but we sure like to take it on.
Yeah, we do.
We sure feel safe when we do.
Yes, we do. It's
We
very true.
really feel justified when we do.
Yep.
so something triggered for me when, if you don't mind me gleaning
go.
in with you, is that you said there was an agitation, and the way you recognized and chose to respond was like grace. Again, I feel like with the knowledge and the awareness that you have, you were able to make another choice than what you may have made in the past. But I was getting into the way you may have chosen before. Did it like leech on to, was it like a leech onto you, the way either he spoke or acted or whatever energy he put out? Was it like a leech on you that you were able to now, that was sucking out your peace, that you were able to not accept it? Because there's a thing, as we say, oopsie, don't dump it here. Like he's dumping his angst on you, which leaches your peace. But because you could recognize it as his and not yours. I mean, like, what was that moment of experience of you choosing another choice is what I'm looking at.
I think what I experienced, Sandra, was the gap, so that I could choose. And I think I was able to experience that gap because I had released so much yesterday.
Ding, 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 ding. Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Is it fried chicken?
Oh yeah, of the only kind.
I mean, and this morning was a real good test because, like I said, I've still got migraine and my blood pressure is really high and I can feel, so I'm not feeling well. And I was downstairs and I wanted to get back upstairs because I was busy with a meeting. So I was in a hurry. And he was irritated by something that was completely irrelevant. And usually, if I was well, I would be able to say to him what I said this morning. But when I'm not well, I don't have that patience at all. It's just not there. I used to refer to it as patience. And now it's got, I realize it's got much more to do with just what I am inside of myself.
I'm getting something off color for me. You call it patience. I'm receiving that as you allowing someone else to dump their own internal stuff on you, and it being okay for them to dump it on you, and you calling it patience. But, and I could be totally off. I'm just processing.
Sure. No, sure.
But yet, from your space of the gap, you can, like, when the shit is hitting the fan, you can just like kind of like ward off and turn aside and just let it be where it lands. You don't have to be the landing place for it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And before, for you to be the landing place, it really perpetuates and contributes to a structure that is perpetually contriving vomit. It picks, it's just like eating it and vomiting it and eating it and vomiting it. It's the same pattern in the regurgitation of nothing nurturing, nothing nutritional, nothing of value. It's just for no purpose, for no good purpose. And so now with the gap, it's like, that's his shit. And it doesn't have to be yours. And if he could, but the more you participate with his shit, the more it's shit. And the now that you found a place of peace and gap and let it just go off, you don't contribute to that cycle. That
That's
cycle
right.
isn't between you and him and you and him and you and him and you and him, and it just keeps going. But now with you not participating, it really helps dissipate the like the bow and arrow. It's not hitting right at you and empowering that same behavior, emotional pattern. But now when there's no board and you're not allowing yourself to be the target or the stopgate or responsible for that arrow, and you ward off and let it pass, that arrow just goes, and you'd be like, where did that arrow go? And because it's not coming back to him, it loses power.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, thank you for letting me process that and get that out.
Yeah, it's great. And Sandrell, the other thing for me also is like being able to recognize, or the other thing that was significant for me is that I could feel the pain behind his reaction to things that had nothing to do with me. And so now my next challenge would be, how will I be able to react when it has got to do with me? So it's observing where the attachment of the charge is every time, right? When somebody comes at you for something that you have done that has transgressed their boundaries, are you able to see their pain around that expectation of you being transgressed? Or are you only pointing to the truth of the situation? And it's all very well to only point to the truth of the situation, and in many times that is what is required. But when you start out initially with somebody around any issue, the more gap you can bring in with your own awareness, the quicker the issue will get resolved. And it might not get resolved for the other person in as much as they can accept it, or it can land for them. But it will get resolved for you. And the way in which you resolve it will still be having empathy for their essence, although you have got a boundary in terms of their behavior towards you. And that makes a world of difference in terms of how you're going to move forward.
So I think that you even asked the question poses that, yeah, you can deal with the issue for the issue is at the moment. But the issue is not just the issue when it brings up all these other emotions that is directing and contriving perspectives of the now. So you're dealing with the issue now, but you're dealing with all the other issues that it has triggered simultaneously.
Yeah.
And very often the emotion erodes any
Yes.
resolution to the issue that is now.
Yes.
So your awareness to give it room is in breath, and also to ward off, to not take personal attacks, because you can't change the past, but you can respond differently now to not keep adding more fuel to it.
That's right.
And yes, like, when we bring up old memories, our minds and our emotions attached to it, it's like it just happened like right now. Like, for example, if someone had been unfaithful in a relationship, or didn't have somebody's back at a time that the person thought it was important, that feeling of abandonment, or whatever that you would define that to be, it's just like it just happened like right now, because no, they didn't get over it emotionally.
Yeah.
And people don't just get over emotions. You can get over it intellectually, but
Yes.
emotionally, if it keeps triggering it like it's happening again right now, that's what they're going to act out of right now, even though it's just because I put 2 pieces of bread on the table and I ate 1.5. That wasn't me abandoning you or not being thoughtful of you. That was like, it was just some good bread. I'll go get you some more. No, that's not the point they're saying, because you didn't do it fair and evenly in their perspective. So it triggers all that old stuff. But again, we can't be responsible for somebody else's processing. We can only be responsible for the data and the behavior and the energy that we put out in the presence of them processing their stuff. So if you
Yes.
don't want the fire to keep brewing, don't add more wood and fuel to it. But yet, can you still be compassionate? Yes. By staying in a present state and understanding that they're the crying baby, they're having their tantrum moments. And if that's what they have to do, let them wear themselves out, but understand it clinically that that's all that's happening. And we can't let for lack of a better term, we can't let the devil wear us down in our good works by keep calling us into our past, which we cannot change.
Yeah. And when you're able to do what we're talking about, there's no doubt in my mind at all anymore that it serves everybody. And that's why it's so important to be all that we are. To be aligned.
Do you know the Ho'oponopono prayer?
Yes.
Okay.
It's so
So,
divine, isn't it?
yeah, so I just got a picture of you. At first I got the thought of you, of a hug, like when things are just going absolutely awry, right? First I got a vision of no words, just a hug, But sometimes people can't like receive a hug, they'll defend. And while everything else is going awry in the conversation or the energy zone, is saying that prayer and let the resignation of that prayer, and we're coming back around to Jesse just sitting and waking up to just receive and exude love out to his home, his family, the world, the community. For you to be in that space, no matter what they're saying. And sometimes, you know, without saying anything out loud, just like gradually, just a hug is like, and a touch can really help calm a lot of erratic energies that don't know where to go. So they just go blah, 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 say anything, right? It's just to just calmly with that prayer as a precipice to it, and just put your hand over their hand and affirm them that they are, not that they're right, not that they're wrong, but that they are.
Yes, exactly.
And the way you let peace be still here, just let that peace be still in your touch. Like, you can't fix the past, but you're present here for now. And you know how you hug a person? I read one time about a mother's hug, and it said, your babies need a hug, you hug them. And you hug them until you feel them full and they release. But you don't stop hugging until they are full. And as soon as you feel the presence of them being full, you release. You don't want to release before, because you don't want to pull back from them getting what they need. And you don't want to hug on longer, because you want to give them that space to breathe and give and receive. And so, you know, when you touch, you know, that affirming calmness, that I hear you, I see you, I feel you, I know you. You don't have to be responsible for anyone else's feelings, and we're not, but being compassionate, just affirming that they are. And then when they pull away, if it's a second, then you don't jerk back yourself. You just give room. And then the next time, maybe they'll let it stand for 2 or 3 seconds, because it's going to feel odd. It's going to be peculiar. I don't know if I can trust this. And let them wager where they are with their own feelings. But your feelings are yours and theirs is theirs. And you have a great capacity of grace and of love and of wanting things to be nice and peaceful and right. And you're starting first with yourself and your willingness to share it, but you don't want to cast pearls among swine. So don't give your pearls where it's still ravaging.
So important. So important. Syndrome, my one meditations teacher said, desire is our life's longing for life itself.
And life itself is love.
That's right.
Yeah. Pascal, where are you, man? Sending you love if you can't come off mute.
Yeah, I just finished. So, yeah, I was driving the whole time, hearing you guys. It was beautiful. What I heard is truth versus perspective. So if I give that same example with Jesse, the truth is a dad, but his perspective might be like, oh, being a dad is the toughest part. So I attach emotion to perspective.
Oof.
And truth is neutral.
Yep.
I agree with that.
Because if I think like, I don't know, if this boy is going to jump off this cliff, he's going to die or whatever. But I mean, like, we have the action will be painful, but really we know the truth is not good or bad. It's just the truth. So if we're sitting in this, so yeah, and then like when I heard the Allison, I think it's maybe with your husband or something. I had this image of a dartboard. And if you imagine you're the dartboard, and then say your husband's throwing the darts, and then so like you'll hit like, you know, some numbers and stuff, and eventually you'll hit like a bullseye, and that's when you're going to get triggered. But the more you're standing in your power, the more like he's gonna be off board. He's gonna be off target, and he might get really freaking angry about it. But if you keep standing in your power, eventually that person will give up. You know, because it's like, what's the point to hit like off board?
Yep.
So yeah, so I feel like when we're stop to feed the energy, then people give up. And when we get triggered is because we don't allow ourselves to get more abuse. But when we stand in our power, it's not abuse anymore, because we don't see it as, it's not about us. It's not about us, and we don't take it personal.
That's right.
So
That's exactly it.
so yeah, and yeah, I learned a new word. Like I have to research it again, but I think it's solipsism.
Oh,
Do you guys have heard about
yes.
that? Solipsism, yeah.
That's
So
a
you were
language
saying,
term.
what's that?
Jesse, do you know what it is? I don't know what it is. Jenny, do you? I've heard it before.
Can you spell that?
I think it's let's try to find it.
SOL.
I think it's SOLLIPSISM. Solipsism, I think. But it's
describe
basically
it.
the belief of there's no God,
Oh, okay.
then there's no free will. So everything is about your perception. So there's no truth. So it's not such a thing about laws of nature. And yeah, so I'm just like learning about the imbalance of like right and left brain. And it's really interesting when you start talking to people where they're standing. And obviously the goal is to stand in the middle, but there's always like a little something to be like, oh yeah, standing a little bit too much on the right, too much on the left, you know what I mean? So, and when we're standing right in the middle, that's when we're free. It's freedom.
Mm.
So truth is laws of nature plus free will.
I would go with that.
So there's some order, but there's choices.
That's right.
Mhm.
So I'm not here to educate you guys. I'm just here to observe what I heard and saw. And so
No, those summaries were great, Pascal. Thank you.
yeah, I missed a few little bit because like sometimes the truck is really loud, but yeah, that's what I got from you guys' conversation this afternoon. So
Thank you. I love the truth is neutral. Perspective is charged.
Yeah. And then how do we tell the difference between the two? You feel your way between the two. Right?
Mhm. You peel it back until it's neutral or closer to neutral.
Mm. Mm.
Rather than going farther out, we come farther in.
Yes.
And what's farther out is farther from the now, from the moment, from the present. Mhm. So good. I'd love to stay here longer.
Yeah, I've had enough.
yeah, it's very productive for sure. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's been wonderful.
I'm
been so
complete with
good.
homework.
Me
Yeah.
too.
My homework
Thank you all.
is awareness, more awareness.
Mhm.
Thank you.
And I love it. It's like as you come back, report what is it that's important to be aware of.
Yeah.
That helps refine, that helps focus the awareness. It's like, oh, what do I need to be aware of? What am I aware of?
When I'm not neutral.
Yeah, it's good ones like first.
Mm.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a great one.
All right, everyone. Thank you. What a great call. Great time with you. So much learning lessons in our power, guiding one another, being demonstrations of sharing our living.
Yes.
Mm.
Thank
I
you,
honor you.
everybody.
Yeah. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Yeah, you guys too.
Namaste.
Okay, bye.